So we have all that potential, but unfortunately, till now we don't. It takes times,
Mhm.
but it should be not too much time because there is no time, especially with the era of AI, with all that revolutions happening. So there is no time to wait. But in general, just based on your questions, that three things: the humanize, the localize, and personalize. That three triangles we have to utilize it very well if we want to go deep and understand our culture and to deliver the best brands for ourselves, for our children, and even for future.
This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al Basri Marwad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. Have you ever found yourself wishing for a roadmap to navigate this complex world of brand building? You know, if you had that perfect guide with all the secrets and the essential factors, all of them laid down, where it can help you understand what are the determining factors to a brand's success or its downfall in today's dynamic market. If that is the case, then this episode is tailor-made for you. And I must say, it holds a special place in my heart this week. First, because it marks a milestone for Let's Make Waves podcast as we welcome our first guest speaker. And I'm really excited about this. Secondly, it's because I'm also thrilled to introduce you to our esteemed guest, Jaafar Hamza, a branding expert hailing all the way from the Kingdom of Bahrain. In this episode, Jaafar graciously shares his wealth of knowledge and experience in the realm of branding, where he addresses the most pressing questions about what truly drives a brand to its success in this evolving landscape. So he doesn't only stop there. He also offers invaluable insights into branding strategies specific for the Middle East region, but also providing that global perspective. Now, before we dive into our enlightening conversation that I had with Jaafar, please allow me to give you a brief introduction to this remarkable individual and his extensive work in case you are not already familiar with him. Jaafar Hamza is the founder of BOXOBIA, a renowned brand strategy and design communication house based out of Bahrain. He's also an accomplished author, writer, and speaker with a passion for creativity and communication. With a bachelor's in engineering, an MBA, and an MOAR, he is currently pursuing his PhD. And he's also the recipient of the Silver Award from the Creativity Award in New York, as well as being the first Bahraini in receiving a Level C certificate from the US in brand strategy. As an accomplished author, Jaafar has published 6 books, one of which is available in Amazon, and he is the co-author of a book about entrepreneurship and startups. He's also working on finishing 2 more books that are currently now in the pipeline. He is a highly skilled industrial design product conceptualizer. He's worked in fields of healthcare, water, perfume, self-improvement, and worked with international agencies such as Saatchi & Saatchi, JWT, and with international brands such as Kleenex, Bentley, Formula One, and Aramco. With an extensive body of work, Jaafar has written tens of articles in both English and Arabic about branding, innovation, and marketing. You can experience all of his extensive work on LinkedIn, on his YouTube channel, as well as SoundCloud, where he presents book reviews about design, branding, and innovation. He's also the co-founder of Finico, the first bilingual podcast that highlights all new aspects related to the financial sector from AI to CX and branding. Additionally, he is also the creator of Sorobia, the new Arabic Chinese calligraphy. As a lecturer in branding, innovation, and marketing, Jaafar shares his knowledge and experience with students to inspire them to reach their full potential. I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. I hope you enjoy this week's episode, and I hope you enjoy my conversation with Jaafar Hamza. Jaafar, You are an engineer by education. You've done a major career shift to branding, to marketing, to to everything to do with creative design and all of that new industry. But it was just not a normal shift. It was such a very important shift in your life. You're now even working on your PhD, which is something that is very commendable. I mean, your journey is very fascinating. What was the reason that inspired this shift and made you who you are today, an expert in your field?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the name of God. Thank you, my sister Rana, about this opportunity. And I think regarding the engineering thing, which is, I think it's like a common with my friends when they start as engineering, but they end up with an artist. Some of them doing some, for example, in journalist. Some of them doing something far, far away from engineering. But what's the common is as follow. It's a logic thinking. So that's why I'm, even I started as engineer. By the way, my first job it was in Kimberly Clark, one of the
Wow.
biggest, yes, Ulayat Kimberly Clark in Bahrain as a general engineer, because my background is electrical and electronics engineer. And still this type of what I call the mindset of engineering embedded in my DNA, embedded in my blood. And I seeing things from the engineering perspective, which is what I call it analyzing things, or what I call it re-engineering things again. And from that perspective, I joined to Ministry of Industrial and Commerce in what they call it industrial design and the patent office. From that, starting the love of creativity and innovation, I got an international diploma from WIPO, which is World Intellectual Property Organization. And that was the starting seeds to merge between two DNA, the DNA of engineering and DNA of creativity, and merge it together and come up with what I call it structured creative. I don't know if it's that, what they call it, correct terminology, but it's like you merge between something solid and something liquid.
Yeah.
It's too hard. But for me, it was a long journey within 20 years when I started engineering from university up to now, which is I have my own business. I went through a couple of obstacles and a couple of mind shift, how I'm as engineer with a structure, with organized, with logic, with zero ones, to something like liquid with creativity and innovation, and you're going deep to the human behavior is like upside down, but I come up with a gray area, which is I can say 100%. Both of them is like two faces for one thing.
For one coin, it's like the two sides to the same coin.
Yes.
Wow,
that's our assets as a human. You can't say I'm purely engineering, I'm purely creative. By the way, we are both, but not like Mr. Jekyll and Hyde, of course. But we are as a human being, we have both sides. Yes.
Yes, and I really love about that because it kind of gives you that, it's like a holistic approach. You see things from different angles, which I believe really from the work that I've seen that you've done, really given you the tools so that you actually through your work you share a lot of different perspectives, and we're going to go deep into that. But you've just mentioned you've been in that growth and career shift for the past 20 years, and you have extensive experience in the MENA region. In your opinion, what are the most notable trends or trend shifts that have happened in branding and marketing in the region that you see as a positive evolution to the landscape? How do you feel about that?
I can say like 3 to 4 words, which is humanize, localize, and even I call it personalize. What's that mean? Before maybe 15 years or almost 17 years, when I'm working with big agencies such as James Walter Thompson, and James Walter Thompson, what they call JWT, the first ad agency in the world, and their age almost 100 years, same as Coca-Cola. And they focus more about creative and communicate with people, but unfortunately, the localization is not there. So
True.
that's why that's why they import some experts from outside, okay, and that was the challenge, how they can understand the local culture, but from different perspective, from foreign perspective, and was that the gap
Mhm.
between the local understanding and the global brands. So,
Mm.
but after that, I think there are many opportunities happening now in the region, which is, I call it the localization, which is you can take that knowledge from the experts, even if they are foreign, with all respect for foreign nationalities, and they can localization or
Yes.
localization.
Yeah.
Okay, so to make the local taste, local understand, local culture, to be more close to what they call it, internal community. That's number one. Humanize means to become more not toward products, more towards the brands, and they are too much different. If you
Absolutely. I
focus
agree. I
on
agree with you.
products, about brand with values, with message, with culture, with creating your own tribe, is too much deep. It's too much to human side, it's more to the functional side, and that's why they say focus about the value you deliver to your customer more than the functionality of the products, because the functionality, it can copy cut, the values
Absolutely.
cannot be. That's what even Steve Jobs said, I think one of his talks. And the last one, I said localize, then humanize. Then we have the third one, which is personalize, which is we call it the age of influencers now.
Yeah.
Before decades or even more, um, we have the typical classical advertisement, which is online and offline. Now it's more about the individuals who can create more tribe, strong tribe, either quantity or quality. They have the power to influence more than even the big companies, and
Yeah. More than the brands. Yeah.
that's why big brands coming to the influencers, because they will become their ambassadors in a way or another, because they influence people. At the end of the day, as Peter Drucker said, the main thing for any business to create customer and keep them, It's not just create, which is the
Yeah.
sustainability. How can create and keep the customers if I don't know them, if I don't close to them, if I don't understand them? As a global or as a local or as a regional brands, of course, I have to go to know the leaders between brackets, or the influencers who have the influencing to the people, so I can communicate with them through him or through her. So that's the age, what they call the age of personal brand. That
Yes.
the power of what they call the power of in the individualism. So
Yeah.
which is led to individual. That's the three things: humanize, localize, and the personalize. That's the three things which is about the positive thing. But of course, I always, as engineer,
Yeah.
always see
You want to improve. You always and that would be my
what
next
is the
question.
positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the positive, and the negative thing is, unfortunately, we are under the we are in the stage 1.5. What's that stage 1.5? So we have three stages. Number one, number two, we are as a prosumer, and number three, we are as a producer. Now in Arab region, we are enter between consumer and prosumer. What's that prosumer mean? Prosumers mean you become producer plus consumer at the same time.
Jafar, do you mind saying the three again?
Sure,
Just in case.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Number one, what they call it, consumer. Purely consumer. We are consumptions community. Whatever that products coming from east or west, we just consume it. That we call it consumer.
Mhm.
Okay. And number two, they call it prosumer. You can Google it. Prosumers mean you are a producer and consumer at the same time. I will give you an example. And number three, you are a producer. Okay, we
Okay.
are in the age of 1.5. I don't say two, because till now we are not purely prosumer.
Yeah.
Okay, because the mentality of even the re-engineering In Arab regions, very few, maybe 2 to 3 Arab countries, they have maybe 20 to 40% of re-engineering. I will not name any countries, you can Google it, okay, without any sensitive. So we are in 1.5, which is good, but we
Yes.
have to speed it up. We have to speed it up. Prosumer, just even in a small level, if you have 3D printer at your home, you become like a prosumer. And
Yes.
even the mindset of prosumers is a big threat for big companies, especially cars. Why? Because, for example, if there's a plastic damage in my engine, some part of the plastic, so instead of going to the main dealer, I can create it at home
That's
with
true. That's
a 3D printer. Okay, so instead of spend 20 or 40 US dollars, I can just spend $5. And even what they call the ink, not the ink, the material that can use it for the 3D, instead of even taking from the main source, I can take it from recycled plastic.
that's
That's
right.
the mindset of recycling and produce. So you become you are a producer at home. You can create the plastic for your car parts, or for some gift, or for some toys. So that's the way they call it. They are afraid of you become independent. That they
Yes.
call it humor. And
You know,
all the prosumers tools is available, by the way. Either 3D pen, 3D printer, just name it.
yeah, which kind of, to if I look at your the positive things that you saw, that you see in the market today, especially in the MENA region, and it's how it revolves around how the new at least in the past 15 years, the new talents and new local talents that are coming out, they're not just coming out with the skill to
Mhm.
evolve or for the market to grow, but they are also coming up with the type of thinking or the direction of thought for them to how can I say, for them to put the consumer, the local consumer, in the center of their creative process. This is when you're looking at it as a company, but also for them as consumers themselves. They are looking at the the brands that is around them, not just from the typical direction that you said, which is just consumption, but also
Right.
they are reimagining different ways of them putting their creative
And by
feel
the
on
way,
it.
we can apply that or reflect that or mirroring that, not just about the physical things, even about the digital platforms, which is
Yeah.
now we have a good things that's happening between Saudi Arabia and Emirates, which is I can see it like a very healthy competition. Okay, for example, Leap 24 is happening in Riyadh last time, and before that, there's I think a global government summit in Dubai. All these things being bong happening is healthy for all of us, not just in GCC countries, not just in Arab countries, all world, because this type of what I call it tsunami,
Mhm.
okay, tsunami of knowledge and experience is very good, and that push us to go to 1.5 to stage 2, which is a prosumer, because at the end of the day, just to be frankly speaking, what's all that's happening. At the end of the day, all that platforms we use, all that digital knowledge, even what they call it open source, all coming from, with my respect, coming from the West.
The West.
It's not
That's true.
coming from us. Okay,
Mhm.
that's true. Okay, but how we can utilize it, how we can incorporate to shift that stage from 1.5 to number 3.
Yeah.
So yes, to number 3, which is we have to create our own platforms. Till now, we are just, I'll give you some what they call disclaimer.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia is based on facts and figures. They are one of the most consumptions countries for cosmetic. Okay,
That's based on
until now,
numbers. Yeah.
yes, and until now we don't have like independent Saudi brands. Okay, just for all GCC.
Mhm.
And when the Saudi Arabia ban Barbie, who will come in the stage in Saudi Arabia? Fulham,
Full.
the alternative,
That's true.
the alternative. Okay, this is another option. So we have all that potential, but unfortunately, till now we don't Inshallah, we will go to stage number 3.
Yeah, the
This is how we are
infrastructure.
going to, yes, it takes times,
Mhm.
but it should be not too much time because there is no time, especially with the era of AI, with all that revolution is happening. So there is no time to wait. But in general, just based on your questions, that 3 things: the humanize, the localize, and personalize. That 3 triangles, we have to utilize it very well if we want to go deep and understand our culture and to deliver the best brands for ourselves, for our children, and even for future.
Yeah, and then you might even take it global. That's the whole
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, it's great that today I think we are at a time where the budgets are there, the infrastructure is being built, the talent is there because there's so much talent that is in the region that we already have, and we can cross talent as well. So it's not just the talent within one country, it's a region of many countries, so you can like cross pollinate talents. So the potential is there, the infrastructure is being built. It's just a matter of the right steps and the right support that it needs. And I really want to take that more and to really benefit from your expertise when it comes especially to brand and to everything to do with not only with the brand but also with the reputation, with marketing the brand, with everything around that. I want to start our key discussion point, and this is based on something that actually this is one of your amazing articles that I very much enjoyed reading. You've recently published something which is the published an article that is called, it was titled Designing Brand Success. Now within this article what you've done is that you've wrote that in today's competitive market landscape, and for businesses to stand out and create a distinctive presence, one approach that you propose in this article is the integration of human-centric design, HCD, product-centric design, PCD, and market-centric design, which is MCD. These three centric design approaches, they have to all be integrated into the brand strategy. And in your point of view, when that happens, when the trifecta happens,
yeah,
this will have a significant, this will explore significant growth when it comes to uh sorry, one second. Yes, it will have, this article also explores the significance of each design approach and how they collectively contribute to awareness, adoption, and advocacy. Now
yeah,
I really very much enjoyed this article because it actually has a point of view where it goes into very precise, actionable strategies using those three points and 3 principles that actually can make a brand, and you were very much open about like a brand successful. Can we break that down, because that's a lot of
of course.
really heavy terminology. How can
And
we explain it
yeah, of
easier?
course. Yeah. First of all, thank you because you have time to read my article. And
I'm a big fan, so
thank
please.
you. So for this one is, by the way, I just add another one. I will share it with you now.
Okay, yes,
uh,
please. That's a first one here. You-
the reason behind it, because as just back to square one, which is the engineering thinking.
Mhm.
So when I think about brand, which is embedded with marketing, with the human behavior, with our ROI, with all that terminology related to business, because at the end of the day, if we are thinking about business, you split your mind for 2 things, which is revenue and impact. In
Absolutely.
nutshell,
Yeah, that's usually
revenue
the
and
top
impact.
points of thinking. Yes.
Yes, because some business they say just revenue. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you will create an impact,
Mhm.
indirect or direct. Okay, so in nutshell, revenue and impact. So I'll come back to BCD and HCD and MCD. Each one of them, they have an output or focus, and all that elements, which I will explain now, it will create triple A, which is it's already there before
Mhm.
I even write the article. Okay, and after that it will be what I call it, the quality manager or management tools, which is the Aziz, which we were talking about later on. Okay. So BCD, the output of BCD, what they call it, product-centric design. When I say product, it's not purely means product or service. Usually in some terminology about some papers or even books or even lecture, when they say product, they mean product / service, or they call it P&S, product or service. So BCD, product-centric design, the output is you have to focus about two things. USB, which is unique selling point or unique selling proposition for your product or for your service, and the other one R&D, research and development.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I have a product, but I don't have selling point for this product, at the end of the day, I will not continue at the market because it will be high competition with all that competitors, and I will see myself in red ocean instead of blue ocean.
Absolutely.
So if there is no USB, you will sailing in red ocean, and it's very dangerous. That's number one. What about R&D? R&D is like an extra engine. It's like a nitros you put in your engine, your sport car, or could speed up. And that's unfortunately very few of our companies, even the small one, they're aware or conscious about R&D. R&D is not mean you have to put like a lab and researchers. No, not that the typical thing which is coming from the military, background, which is the core or what they call the startup from R&D as a terminology. No, not necessarily. R&D means even you have to get the feedback to test your product again and again using design thinking, which is available now with all that 5 stages for design thinking. And it's all available and cost effective. So for BCD, it's more focused about your product or your services, and you have to come up with two things: USP, unique selling proposition, and R&D. That in a nutshell. Of course, there's many things I want to talk about, but that in a nutshell. What about HCD? HCD, we have another two parts, internal and external, which is they call human-centric design. Yeah. Internal, as Richard Branson said, your first customer is your employee. Yeah. Unfortunately, some I don't have statistics here, but based on my experience and with all clients or in touch with them, they focus more about the external customer, what they call it, the end users, more than the internal customers with our employee. And we have a big gap here because at the end of the day, your first ambassador is your employee, not your customer.
Absolutely.
So we don't focus more about the internal organization, or they call it internal, or they call it brand culture internally. I can't reflect that outside. Let's give you an example. Just before a couple of days, I have a meeting with one of my clients in Saudi Arabia, and I asked the CEO if he used the service of his company for his kids. It's something related to educational sector. He said no. I said, come on, why? You don't have any strong reason. So that's very weird. Why don't you use? If you don't believe in your product, your service, how we can reflect that or mirroring that to your internal customer, which is your staff, and mirroring that to your external customers? So that's a big gap.
Yes, yeah,
to start believing in your cause, reflecting you, then you can reflect to others. So it will be internal, with taking care about your brand culture internally, because if one of your employees, they are not satisfied, that it will be like a bad virus, okay? It will be spread around your organization, it will affect the productivity, etc., etc. And the same thing, it will be affect in your customers, the end user. The external, which will be end user, and end user, we have to take care about two things: CX and CJ, which is customer experience and customer journey. And customer journey will be UX and UI and many things, which is breakdown. We have to list it down and see if they are satisfied or unsatisfied, and if they are satisfied, why are they satisfied? If they are, why are they not satisfied? And we have to take all what they call it DDD. Sorry, I'd say just a couple of terminologies.
No, please, please go ahead.
DDD, which is data decision driven. Without data, you cannot take any decision. Back to engineering. Okay, you have three stages. You have input, you have process, you have output. If I don't get the feedback from the customers, based on what I can take like new decisions, I don't have any feedback. I don't have input. So there's no process, there's no output. As simple as that. So the main things now in our era is D. Data decision driven. Always collect, always eat all that data for your sector and for your product and service and for the competitors. Looking always to the numbers and facts and figures. Even if you are working, for example, just an example, if you are working in gold sector or cosmetic, read about geopolitics, what's happening in your region. What's related between geopolitics and cosmetic? Yes, of course, it will affect. Because if there's like a new regulations or maybe there's something negative or positive about some country, that will affect in your sector. I don't want to complicate things, but always as a business, you have to open your eyes and you open your ears, and before that, open your minds and read more and just to take. And that's why the difference between who's sailing in the blue ocean, because he up to date, he see things differently, and he sustain and he innovate and discover more opportunities comparing with others. I'll give you a small story.
Yeah, I agree with that totally.
I'll give you a small story that's happening in Bahrain with me, with one of the biggest real estate, not just in Bahrain, in the MENA region. What's happening is just I'm knocking the door. I just read the newspaper and see there's like a new potential happening with this big company. I say to my team, please just do some gift to this brand. We just do some like small cinematic logo animation with the music, just a small gift. Knock the door for that big real estate, and they said, yeah, please welcome. What's happening? I said, I have this presentation. I have this gift to you. And Mr. Ahmed, his name, said, oh, I'm looking for you for a couple of days. I don't find your number, but subhanallah, you're now at my office. Yes, please just go ahead. After that, after knock the door for free, and even my friend said, you're crazy. This is a big company. Maybe they have 4 to 5 agencies. You're tiny. Okay, you're like a small ant compared with elephants there. I said, okay, that's ants can do
mighty things.
Yes. So after that, we get 5 mega projects from this company. From small
This is
gifts.
fantastic.
Why? Because to read, to know what's happening in your country, something updating in terms of facts and figures happening in government, what's happening in politics, what's happening in economy, environment. It's all related. It's all related. You have just to, what they call it, to see the right patterns, so you can see the gap, and from the gap you can see the opportunity. So that's to answer a question about the BCD and SCD. And the last one,
Yes.
by the way, what I said now is related to the last one, which is MCD, which is market-centric design. You have to see the STB, which is segmentation and targeting to find your positioning. And of course, to see the competitive advantage and competitive edge with your competitors, and up-to-date technology, up-to-date news, up-to-date regulation that's happening in your country. It's all related. So that's, we have BCD, output is USP and R&D, and we have HCD, we have internal and external for customers, and we have MCD, which is STB, which is segmentation and targeting and positioning. All these together, by the way, is come up with the marketing stage with the 3 A's, which is you have to create awareness about your brand. Without awareness, nobody will know about you. Then we have to talk about adapt. Yes, there's an action. They will take your product or service. What they call it IDA, even from 70s.
Yes.
Which is, attention, interest, desire, then action. Then we have advocacy, which is very rare in our countries and our region. Very rare, but we have a huge potential. But till now, it's not utilized. And there are, for each one of the BCD and CD and MCD, it's related to what they call it triple R's. What's that? For BCD, I just write it down here. For BCD, you will get ROI, return of investment.
Yeah, that's
very well known. For HCD, you will get return of customers. And for MCD, will you get ROR, return of reputation, which is the brand equity.
That's
Okay,
yeah.
that's not written in my article, by the way. Just updated it.
No, no, no. I love how you've also included that. And this is the thing. I mean, what you've done in this, it's like anybody who is now having a business or working in an organization, these are things that sometimes people think about it when they're starting a business. It's part of the business plan. Okay, so we want to call our company this brand. These are the customers. What we mainly care about is, this is my product. My product is the best. Not all the time there is proper data. Not all the time there's a lot of other details that you really need from the market. But I know there's a need for it. And this is my sales team, and let's go ahead, I want to sell it. There's a lot of, what you've done is that you're saying, today, for us to be a sustainable business, for an organization to become a sustainable organization, and sustainability is not only about number of years of existence, but it's also
Right.
the sustainability of growth vertically, horizontally, and whatever the company wants to do that. There has to be that cycle of these three important, the trifecta, as you called them in your article, the cycle of these three major points, where it will keep the brand alive, but the brand is not static. There's the internal people and the external people. There's the products and the evolution of the product and making it. And this is amazing. This is what I really love about this article. You concentrate on this with the, as you said at the end of your answer, to something that will create the awareness, the the 3 E's, as you call them.
Yeah.
The awareness, the adoption, and the advocacy. And you've said a point that I agree with you, and that is, regarding advocacy, it's still in the infant stages. There is potential. These are your words. There is potential. And there's, as I'm sure you're going to tell us, the advocacy, internal advocacy, employee advocacy, beautifully explained by how you said, you gave us the example of this education organization, and how, if internally we don't believe in the product, then how do we put it to the team? But also, the most importantly, the external advocacy, which is our customers becoming our marketing tool.
Yes.
So where do you see the potential? If it's still in its infant, where's the potential? Do you think people are now understanding its importance, or they're now understanding that without it, the sustainability of the business and the brand cannot be there?
My answer will be in two parts. The first part, talking about the mind shifts happening, I think, for last 5 years. I'm talking about the GCC. Before they think about the products, what they call products oriented only. As you said, we have a best product. They don't care about the website. They don't care about the social media. They don't care about how the customer service should be in up to date. All that relation, what they call it, intelligence, and what they call it, social intelligence. They don't use it. But recently, I figured out I can just draw in my mind. There's an exponential happening in three areas. The first area is to focus more about look and feel for their product and service.
The aesthetics.
Yeah. For example, we have big companies just before a couple of months. They're taking care about their logo, even they are from 70s. Why? Because they said, okay, it's become like a trend. Even the marketing manager, she's a lady, she told me, because it's trend. The terminology is wrong, but I know what she said.
What she meant.
What she meant is right, but the terminology is wrong. So we are not talking about the trends. We're talking about the mind shift. We're talking about 180-degree changes happening in our market. So the look and feel means the brand identity, the visual communication, all the touch points, either online or offline. That's the area number one. Area number two, talking about the marketing and taking care about influencers, about customers, about getting feedback. And stage number 3 is more, what is now maybe 10%, maybe even 5, talk about brand strategy.
Mm.
It's more in deep. Why? Because in brand strategy, you will touch what I call it the red area for them. Why? Because in talking about brand strategy, that's me. You will sit with the CEO, you will sit with the decision makers, and you have courage to say, please, this one is not right. If you want to success. So head by head, it's not easy for an organization to open the doors and say, okay, please, critique me. No, it's
Yeah,
not
of
easy.
course.
Okay, but except some open-minded organization, which is I found it in Oman, in Bahrain, and even Saudi Arabia when just dealing with a couple of clients. They said, yes, we want to change. Even if you challenge us, please challenge us.
Mm.
That's a very positive thing. That's about the positive change. So that's 3 areas. So talking about advocacy, now many of companies, at least what I'm reading about, what I'm dealing with them, they want to focus about advocacy more. Why? Because they're thinking ahead. At the end of the day, even if you think just numbers, if you focus and invest in advocacy, you will save money, you will save effort, and you will create your own tribe, as Simon Sinek said.
I
Okay,
agree.
because it will be sustained. I have a new interview with maybe you see that the teaser thing, talking about how bank can create their own reputation
Mm.
and how they can measure it. Why I'm selecting banks? Because banks, they have bad reputations
Yes, they
all
do.
around, all around the world. Okay, so that interview, it will be in Arabic, with one of the biggest local bank here in Bahrain, NBB, National Bank of Bahrain. So it was very challenging with Mr. Hisham, he's my friend. So when talking about advocacy is one of the biggest challenges that we face. Why? Because we are not dealing, unfortunately, with the brands as H to H. We have B2B, yes, we have B2C. Okay, come on, we are human to human.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are not like a robotics. Okay, you with fine line with all this disclaimer. Come on, there's a gray area we can deal with the human, even if we can just ignore something here and there, just to keep the momentum of our relationship, our authenticity, our what they call it, our culture. Even talking about Arab and Muslims, okay, we have that big open-minded to how we can deal with others with good intention. So we have number one to think about H to H, very deep. Number one. Number two, we have to create something outstanding experience for our customers. And number three, we have to read the DDD, which is the feedback from them. It's not just survey good or not. No, 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 no. We have to take that in consideration and be serious, because at the end of the day, who will pay your salaries is your customer. That's facts.
100%. 100%.
So,
Yes.
so I just wondering if they are paying our salaries, why I don't care about them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
And,
feedback that you
yeah,
get from the customer goes back to the R&D, which was what you were saying before.
yeah, and from the feedback, we have to apply at least Kaizen. You know the Kaizen, the Japanese,
Absolutely. Yes.
strategy, how to what they call it, continuous improvement, even small steps. Okay,
Yes.
and I get certificate from for the Kaizen, so I apply it in my job. So we have all the tools. We have just to taking care of that. At the end of the day, we want to create what I call it. If you want to create advocacy, you have to create a tribe. As simple as that.
I agree with you. Yeah.
If you create your own tribe, they will become your ambassadors. They will fight for you, even if you are not in the field. That's what we need. How we can create a tribe is very easy, but it's very hard to apply. Very easy as a concept, very easy as a tools, very easy as a strategy, but it's very hard because we are dealing with emotions. We are talking about humans.
Mhm.
So, especially in Arab and Islamic culture, it's very easy because we have common values, we have common things that we can build on directly. Uh, During Ramadan, now we are in holy month of Ramadan.
Yes.
Ramadan of the month of blessing, giving, all these things is happening. We have to understand our culture, understand our values, and to market it internally so we can marketing globally. Unfortunately, during Ramadan, it's hijacked. Sorry to say that words. It's hijacked. It's hijacked to create more consumptions mindset in holy month, which should be more giving more than consumptions.
I agree with
Consumptions of
you.
our time, consumption of our products and foods, and even our programs in our daily life is just mind shift. They just hijack the values of Ramadan and become more consumptions month compared with other 11 months.
Yeah.
So talking about advocacy, we have to deal about the humans. We have to understand them more. Demographic, psychography, all that is available now, like what I call it consumer behavioral. And based on that, we can create our strategy to create our own tribe. Okay, that's in a nutshell how we can create advocacy. Yeah,
Yes.
that's for the
Yeah,
answer.
and it's definitely beyond the a lot of companies sometimes they what they do is a referral program, and they're like, That's advocacy. You like our product, refer a friend," and it's like a referral program could be like an incentive, which is part of the advocacy, but it's not the actual advocacy when it comes to, um, yes,
You know, sorry for interrupt. Just I'll give you an
no,
example. The,
yes,
the best
please.
example, the best example of advocacy is football clubs.
Yes, yes, please. Can
Wow.
you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, for example, we are in Bahrain, a small island, and we have fans for Barcelona or for Manchester or for Liverpool. That's what I just remember. Okay, and they are not Spanish. Their mother, they are not Spanish. Okay, and they are not original from Spain, but they are fighting. They are
Fanatics,
fighting.
fanatics.
Yes, something in their blood and their heart and their mind for such a thing, like for this club or for that club. Why? And they don't even their products. What's their products? A T-shirt? Maybe it's made in China. Come on. So it's more than that. It's about the values. It's about common values that make them to be contact and to be connect with that club. What's that? All that means for the
Yeah, to
for
belong. They
players,
belong.
for the players, for the captain, for the coach, for the field, for even for language, for the culture, for everything. Even because I'm coming from a small village, they call it Malikiya here in Bahrain. I'm very famous about what they call it the Western Night.
There
Why?
was
Because we are Why? Because we are very famous about playing football since childhood. Okay, so most of my families and friends and neighborhoods, all of them they are playing football.
football. Yeah.
Yes, it's since childhood. So that and they're embedded in their blood about all that football clubs all around the world. Coming back to the advocacy, um, this just an example. These clubs, they don't selling products. Where their products? T-shirt, cups. It's not original even. Yeah, it's all fake. Yeah, made in China. But still, the I call it the magnetic of football clubs. It's embedded in all people all around the world. Most of them because they are loving soccer or they call it football. That's number one. Number two, the type of marketing
Mm.
and will emphasize more between time to time. See, football is not like, for example, like Formula One. Formula One
No.
maybe one time to two times, per year. Football is like every day. You
Yes.
know, from league to league, there's another league, so it's a never end. Okay, so and you have many options, you have many clubs, you have many stars. Okay, you have different language, different nationalities, and it's like I think we have to study as a brand strategist. Maybe might be this next article, how we can take lessons from the football clubs to create a strong brands. What's
Mm.
make football clubs outstanding, even from 5 years old to 50 years old.
Mhm.
All of them, they are attached with football clubs, even if they are not from the same country, by the way. Why?
Yeah, and they feel that kind of belonging. They feel like they
Yes,
are part of
that's
a special
belonging.
club.
Yes, that's belong. What you said, this the magic word. That belonging is the cornerstone of any tribe. If you create that tribe, you will get the advocacy, and we can't do that without knowing the belonging, which is the common. What even Simon Sinek said many times. You have to think about the common values that attach between you and your brand. The same thing we can apply it in maybe banks a little bit hard. Okay, hard, but it's not impossible. Okay, with any type of product or services. That's how we can create advocacy. Just answer to your question. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I love how we've like really went in depth when it comes to advocacy, and when it comes to as you were explaining this, the trifecta, which was the PCD, the MCD, and the HCD. And we said, you said actually during your explanation, is that this not only will make the brand successful, it will not only bring it the awareness and the adoption that it needs, it will not only create the advocacy, but it's very important to know that this will make the brand non-static. It's growing,
Right.
it's stretching, and everything. And this happens when we do regular spring cleaning, regular kind of processes. And this is also something that you have come up with. It's something that you've created, which is called the ASIS methodology. You've
Yeah.
mentioned it a minute ago. And this is basically what you're saying, is that so that we can ensure all the processes are structured and aligned with the brand objective, the use of the ASIS methodology can be employed. And ASIS is a methodology that is an acronym for auditing, auditing and assessment,
Yeah.
strategy,
Mhm.
execution, evaluation, and sustainability. I know we
Right.
touched on sustainability. We've touched on the auditing when you were talking about, the regular asking the customer, auditing from within, finding different ways of growth in that product or service, be it through the R&D. We've touched a little bit here and there. Do you think ASIS is something that is it's, I cannot call it a final step. It's a cycle that the brand has to go through once in a while on regular basis. But do you think this is, without this cycle, your trifecta will not see its maximum performance? You know what I mean? Like,
If
do
you
we
can,
need ASIS to make the PCD and MCD and HCD viable? Without ASIS, it
see,
might be
see, BCD and MCD and HCD is the cornerstone of any business.
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
it's like planting. You put the seeds. Okay, and to planting these seeds, you need water, you need sun, you need air, you need fertilizer. Okay, and you need what? A farmer. Of course, without farmer, you can't do anything. Of course, maybe with AI now, with robotics, but uh,
But even the
Aziz,
robotics, they need a person behind it. Yani.
yes. So Aziz is what they call a roadmap, or like a blueprint to make sure the cycle is coming a healthy cycle for a brand.
Mhm.
Because if you why I come up with these methodologies, just in a nutshell, why BCD, MCD, and CD, and why the Aziz? Because I saw couple of brand strategist tools is thrown like this. As engineer, I have to put it in toolbox.
Mm.
Okay, you have screwdriver, you have a hammer, you have each element or each tools in its right place. Okay, what they call
Yeah.
it kambara, I think in Japanese. So when you need something, you will get it on just in time. You
Yes.
get it on time. So without waste any time, what they call it in Japanese muda. Muda means waste. So
Mm.
there's no waste, and anything you want, you have to take it from its right place. So the BCD, CDM, CD, and Aziz both together is like it's like a puzzle. You have, or like a Lego. You have to put it together to get the best results. Of course, you can just go with BCD and CDM alone, independent. But who will monitoring? There's no monitoring for each one of these. So Aziz is like I can control panel or quality management tools from A to Z from all that process. So you have to use it. That's why if you go through it, it's like a timeline happening. It's not just jumping randomly. Why auditing assessment? By the way, auditing and assessment will be internally and externally. One of the things that, for example, we work in Oman and even in Bahrain for government and even for micro businesses. Just we figure out one of the small, not small, it's a medium enterprises. Unfortunately, they don't have organization structure. And some of them, they have job descriptions overlap with another job description from the same level of managerial level. So that's type of thing and assessment. And the reason behind the wasting of time and clashes between decisions because of that. When we sat with 2 to 3 doctors in that medium enterprises, we figure out there is like a sensitive relationship between 2 to 3 doctors together. Come on, how we can solve that? So it's against edge to edge. So Aziz is not just something theoretical. We have to apply it. So for example, in the first stage, it take maybe 2 to 3 months to sort out this issue because it's related to regulations and job description and etc. etc. So auditing and assessment will be internally. We cannot go to strategy and put fluffy things and interesting and the infrastructure is not healthy. So that's number one, which is auditing and assessment internally first. Then we go externally, which means, for example, this medical, it was a medical sector, a laboratory. They have like a package. Their package to their customer is what they call it. It's not attractive enough. It's like it's very dull. There's no life in it. Okay, so even the touch of the papers, the illumination, the colors, all these things we're taking care of. And alhamdulillah, they're listening to us. Even the reception, it was like an old school of laboratory. They change the colors, even the smell, the lighting, everything. Even there's a small area for kids to take some blood test. Say, come on, guys, put some cartoons here.
Yeah. It's part of the experience. It's part of the brand.
Yes,
it's part of the experience.
It's very dull, yeah. Okay, so alhamdulillah, they listen to us and they change the environment. It's not cost them anything almost. Yeah. Come on, yeah, the character from any stationery for 2-3 dinars. Yeah. Okay, so it's very cheap. So that's about Aziz. Then we have to put the strategy. Okay, after like a doctor or like engineering. Okay, you have to have diagnosis. Then you have to get a medicine. So after a strategy, we have to make sure there is execution for that strategy. Otherwise, it will be just something theory. Is enough? No, it's not enough. Because even in the execution, we have to make sure this execution based on that strategy. That's why I have another E, which is evaluation. It's done or not done. And why it's not done 100%? Why there's 20% gap? Because maybe because of a designer, because of a CEO, because of whoever the reason behind. We have to do investigation. At the end, we have to sustain, which is very, very, very rare of companies that taking about sustainability. Sustainability means, in Aziz, and as you say before, like the X and Y axis. In X axis expansion, because your business, you want to expand either physically or virtually. Physically means to open many branches, plus to expand in your products and services, or virtually the same thing, but it will be in virtual version. And for the y-axis, for the x-axis, it will even for quantity, and for y-axis it will be the quality, innovation for your products to become like standard. Because your USP in BCD, it will not to stay for a long time. It would be easy copycat from your competitors. So you always you have to become at least 5 to 10 steps ahead. And how you can do that? By R&D, And by the sustainability, you have to think ahead, always up to date, using all the grades. And by the way, one of the threatened industry happening now in our region, all around the world, is design. Why? Because of AI, design and content creation, both.
Yeah.
Okay, because you have AI. You just put in ChatGPT and even rephrase it, and you humanize the ChatGPT text, will be something hilarious. The same thing for the design. So it's very challenging. So we have to become up to date, otherwise we'll be expired. So that's in Aziz in a nutshell, and we apply it, by the way, for many companies. So it's not just
And many different sizes. So what
yes,
you're saying is that this blueprint, the ASIS
yes,
if you take it like a blueprint, this is like your regular checkup. You know what I mean?
yes,
It said
yes,
it has to be on a regular basis, because that's where um, in the end, the thing which is the sustainability of your business.
yes,
That's when any kind of growth strategies that you have, if there is anyway an opportunity in it or not. But
right,
if I want to stay on that, what you said when it comes to the sustainability, and now we're looking at businesses in the region who are, with the help of everything that is happening, that we have the tools that we have today, between AI and of course like the technology, it's a global market. In your opinion, what do you recommend local companies to strike that balance between being appealing to their local tribe, but at the same time, they have the potential of growth when it comes to like international appeal, where it's like different market, different type of customer, even if it's the same product or service?
see, we have just to rethink about this statement.
Mhm.
Always you have to think global, not necessarily, because some of businesses, they are successful to be stay local. So we don't have that what they call a change. Oh, if I'm starting local, I have to think global. I'm not with that 100%, because some of the business, their strength points is to stay local. Okay, if you take it from that environment to another environment, it will dead. Same as like a fish. If you take it
Mm.
from sea, okay, yeah, take the fish and please try to climb the tree. Cannot be, come on. Okay, it's against its nature. This
Yes.
part of the business part. How much part, I don't know, because we don't have that statistics. In what sectors, I don't know. Because some of the sectors it applies, some sectors not apply. But I'm talking about what they call it, think global, act local. Yes, it can't be. Why? Because at the end of the day, all the individuals, all the people all around the world, it's there's a plan.
Mm.
Okay, maybe it's a dangerous statement here happening. Maybe there's a plan. There's a plan. Each one of us, regardless about his religion, regardless about his race, colors, language, countries, background, they want to make us a products. They want to make us as consumptions to consume their products. That's why one of the objective of globalization, the negative side of globalization, is we have to be consumers. That we have, for example, big brand. I don't want to name anything. Okay, they are cross border from China to America to Vietnam to Saudi Arabia, and the common things what they pretend their values, how open happiness. Maybe you know what I mean. So
Yes.
I don't mention any name. Okay, so so the common values is. They want from us to become like. By the way, it's my words. Even from American writers talking about this one. Okay, and one of the books I read, they call it No Logo.
No, no, go.
Uh,
Yes.
from a lady, I forget her name. And there are many books talking about this. We are with or without. I mean, we are with or against. But at the end of the day, as engineer, we have to think like a different perspective. It's
Mm.
not uh, I'm not against myself because I'm brand strategist. I have to promote brands, but at the same day, at the same time, I'm a human.
Mm.
So I try my best. I don't be like a bias. Yes, I'm in that for the business, but I have to think different way. So become about think global, act local. It's depend on many things. Number one, it's about your vision and mission as a company. You want to stay at Canada for 20, 50 years? Oh, no, no, no. I want to start from Canada, just an example. For 5 years. After that, I have to think to go to USA, then to Europe, then. So you have a plan. So you have a timeline, and with timeline, you have action plan. And from action plan, you have break it down for many tasks, so you can see your growth with time. That's number one. And what they call it, the vision is like eagle, the eagle view,
Yes.
falcon view. They call it the vision because you can see all what's happening around your markets and even the global market. And we can have the action. So we have vision, not mission. We have vision, we have action. Action will be what I call it anti-view. Why? Because we have all elements, all animals here. Okay, so we have the falcon view and we have the ant. Why ant? Because the micro things, micro level, of working with your team and with your small tribe. Because at the end of the day, the smaller tribe, it can become bigger because all the same common values happening all around the world. It's not like before 40, 50 years ago. Now with all that open platforms happening is hilarious. As we are become like a copycat, unfortunately, copycat models. That's what's happening. So that maybe that's the negative side, but the positive side, you can understand more about your consumers now, about your target audience, about your people. So there's a potential for your business, even if it's our local, to become regional, then from regional become like a global. It's like a cycle. You start
Yes.
local and you think global, and you think global. You can reflect that in your
Local.
local. Yeah, it's like a tango,
Yes.
between
Yes,
local and global.
absolutely. And this is part of the growth. Like even if you're within the same, if you, not global, let's say you're going growth within a region,
Yes,
you're going out and then you're back again to the
yes.
thinking local in the new market because but it's within the same region.
And there's a potential in our region. I will just mention maybe two programs, which is I like them. In Bahrain, we have BBAN. Maybe you heard about it. BBAN is like a local version of Shark Tank
Oh,
or
yes.
Dragon
Yes.
Dragon Den.
Dragon Den,
Okay,
yes.
and there's another version in Dubai. They call Shark Tank Dubai.
صح.
Okay,
Yes.
so and just imagine that we have in two countries within the same area, Bahrain and UAE. Okay, so that these programs or these initiatives that support the local to become regional
Mm.
for growth, for sustainability, which is, I think, and I believe is very, very, very positive initiatives. And I support any small business or medium to participate. And by the way, no, nobody paid for me, huh? But just
It's not endorsement. This is not an ad.
yeah,
No, but I
yeah, yeah,
agree with you. I agree with you. This is also a very good shift, positive
yes,
shift that is happening in the region in the sense that you have investors who are now
yes,
willing to,
right.
give the right support, investment wise and connection and other,
Of course, we
things
don't
like
have that
marketing.
opportunity. We don't have that opportunity before a couple of years. Now it's
Yeah.
open-minded. Even it's like what they call it. I want to call it copycat from Shark Tank. Even it's copycat. Why not? If it's positive things, we can take it. That's
Why not?
fine.
Yes. Yes, of
Why not?
course.
Why not? We have to duplicate positive things from east or even from more moon from Mars or even from aliens. That's fine. If it's a positive, why not? We can
Yes,
use it.
absolutely. It's like, why do you reinvent the wheel? Build on it,
Yes,
I
yes,
totally
I
agree.
agree.
I want to I've taken so much of your time, so I want to like kind of wind down and go back to just I have a couple of more questions if that's
Sure.
possible. Um
Yeah,
we spoke about brand, and one of the things that I mentioned in the introduction is that you're also a published author. So you've authored a lot of books, and you're known for your expertise through your articles as well, and the expertise of storytelling. And
Right.
even now, today, we're talking today, and you give us all of those examples through the, the art of storytelling. So in your opinion, how crucial is storytelling in the context of branding, and how can businesses effectively use that? Or are they using it enough in the MENA region, in the Middle East, North African region?
See, storytelling is uh, is part of our culture. Even we talk about the holy month of Quran more than 60% is like storytelling. From Moses, Jesus, our prophet, and Abraham, and it's all stories. Why story? Story because it's the perfect wagon to deliver values.
I love that.
Okay, it's a perfect wagon to deliver values because it will stick in your minds. You remember the campfire
Yes.
from Ice Age? All the families coming from Indians, coming, and even Bedouin in Arab, they coming, all around and telling stories at the night. So it's why? Because the campfire is the symbolism of storytelling. All the tribe, all the families coming together, and telling story, and the story, there's a value behind it. It will be part of their character. So this part of our culture, and even on our religion and beliefs. Unfortunately, we don't use it till now. I believe now we use maybe 5% only. Imagine, just 5%. You say, why do you say 5, not 5.5? I said almost 5%. I don't have any statistics or facts and figures, but based in my experience and what I see, what I'm seeing, it's just 5%. Why? Because I can see there's 95% it's not used.
Mm.
I will give you just an example that's happening between me and a client in Emirates about the power of storytelling. We create a brand identity for a perfume. They call it Thnayan.
Okay.
Thnayan is a name of a boy with special needs. Okay, his story is very touchy because doctors telling his parent that maybe he will die. During I think it was his 6 7 months,
Okay.
and his parents praying to God, to Allah, he will become good, and Alhamdulillah, nothing happened. He just the mother delivered Thnayan in good condition, but with special needs, and now he's 7 years old. Alhamdulillah, he's beautiful. He's living now in Abu Dhabi, and his grandfather telling me after I sit with him, please, his story. See, he start with the story, okay,
Yeah.
and I want something that will give or that will leave a trace behind his story. I want to spread the positive energy, the positive things about his story, that you have to believe in God. It's not always about logic. It's not always about what doctor said. Something there's a behind logic. There's something between you and God, between you and Allah. So that story inspired me to come up with something totally different from a brand identity, which is we come up with a perfume as a concept, number one. Number two, Thnayan as a name. We are not just using like typography. No, 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 no. We use the name Thnayan using the sound wave to create the logo, the name itself. You get my point? When I said
That's
Thnayan,
brilliant. I'm smiling, and I'm like, I'm so taken by the story.
yeah, yeah. So when you say Thnayan, the sine wave, we take it as it is without any editing, nothing. As it is, we create the logo based on the sine wave or the name of Thnayan.
Nice.
Number three, the story I can share it with you by WhatsApp. The story in Arabic and English version, it will be in a QR code in the bottle. When you scan it, you can hear the story of Thnayan from starting to end with the music, of course, Arabic or English.
Yes.
So that the power of storytelling. See, we are not selling perfume. We are selling a story behind this perfume.
Yes,
So
of
we're
course.
talking
You're
about storytelling. We're talking about emotion. We're talking about values. We're talking something that touch your heart when you hear about this authentic story, this very touch feeling story about this small boy.
yeah,
So
and
that's
believing
the
in
power.
miracles. And also
Yes,
about
yes,
believing in miracles. Yes.
believing in miracles, of course. Well, and that's the power of storytelling. That's why I said we have just used 5%. We have a lot from our heritage, from even from our proverbs in Arabic, from Quran, from Islamic values, from Arabic values. We have a lot, a lot, a lot. We are not utilize it till now. So the
Yeah.
storytelling is one of the most powerful tools for brands to embed it in our culture and to become part of our daily life. Yes.
Yeah, and I think you would also agree that storytelling is one of the most powerful tools that humanizes brands, you know,
Yes.
like
Of
even
course.
on a business level, let's say the best way to humanize any brand is to actually have a brand story. It doesn't have to be as touching and as personal as this one,
Yes.
but there
Yeah.
has to be a story that actually becomes part of the, we go back to the football club. I'm sure there's a story behind every single one of them, and the number of games they lost and how they won the championship, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
fans know the story and the history behind it. It's important.
Right.
It's part of belonging. Absolutely, I totally agree. And to stay on the point of storytelling, do as a public, as a an author and a writer yourself, um, do you see the role of digital publishing, especially for professionals while they're building their personal brand? Do you see that there's a potential of it, so that there is some kind of brand authority building? Can you think, like, do you think that individuals should leverage publishing, even if it's digital publishing, to build their brands?
I read a question from Quora. They call it Quora, the website.
Coda, yes.
Yeah. It was a question till now. I read it maybe from 4 to 5 years. Maybe, I don't remember when. The question was as follow. A question to an expert in marketing. What will be the best things that I can do to market myself? That's the question. And the answer within 3 to 4 words. The answer is write a book.
Oh, wow.
Why writing a book? Number one, because you show yourself that you are an expert. Writing a book is not easy, even with AI, because everybody can discover that. But writing a book, that's mean you are research, you are reading, you are brainstorming, you are asking, you're getting feedback, you are writing, rewriting, telling your papers, writing again, it's a hustle, but it's a beautiful journey. That's number one. Number two, you will become number one in your field within your region. And even they say 1% of all population in all around the world having a book.
Wow.
1%. Okay,
That's
I don't know.
nothing. That's nothing.
So why you don't have to become one of this 1%?
Yeah.
Okay, that's number two. And number three, it will become like your marketing tool always, sustainable marketing tools. If you go to event, if you go to VIP meeting, if you go to your clients. By the way, I'm author of this book. Please have a copy of my book. Okay, it's not book, it's just notebook. I just give you example. Okay, so that will be marketing tools. Number four, it will be, as Gary Vee said, that you can use and reuse and recycle your content through your original content. Means from the book,
From the book. Yeah.
you can reuse it again, maybe through infographic sometime, maybe audio, maybe interview, maybe Q&A, maybe presentation, many things. So regardless, it will be published as a printed or digital. At the end of the day, Rana, she wrote a book about this or about that. That itself is a credit. So I always support and why? Because when you write a book or even a research paper, that means you share your thoughts with others, and sharing that will it will be accumulative knowledge in your field. Unfortunately, some of mine said that I don't want to share. And even, by the way, Rana, some of my, I don't say a friend, but some of my, within my network, they say, you are crazy. Why you are publishing this? Maybe someone will take it and write a book about it, or maybe elaborate it. I said, come on. If I keep it for myself, it's mean nothing. I have to share. If somebody will take it and elaborate it, that's fine. That's fine, because the source who create that one, of
Will
course,
always
from
be
Allah.
you.
Of course, it will be like spring. You know the spring, the
Yes.
source of water. It can create another. And by the way, about that, the BCD and the link between ROC and ROI, I just come up with now within the interview now. So yeah, so it's we have to have that mindset of sharing, writing, reading, and even critique each other, because this is the healthy way to grow in our sectors, either in marketing or branding or brand strategy, just name it, and medical, whatever the sectors. Because if Rana just keep her thoughts for herself, I keep how we can grow. As one of the wisdom said, okay, if you have apple and you will give me apple, I will have two apples. I will take your apple.
Yeah.
But if I have one thought and you give me your thought, well, we have two thoughts.
Two
you know?
thoughts. Yeah.
So that's what they call sharing is caring. And even Imam Ali, he said in Arabic, من شاور الناس, you have to translate that. من شاور الناس شاركهم عقولهم, means who consultant or
Yeah.
sharing.
Who consult the people.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I forgot the second part. What did you say? من شاور الناس.
شاركهم عقولهم.
Share their how can I say, literally means you share their mind, but it's actually the sharing of ideas.
Yeah. How can share ideas? By asking, by Q&A, by just throw ideas. So if I share my knowledge with you, I will take your brain. I mean, not literally.
Yes, of course. And you will know if your idea is a good idea, or
Yes.
what kind
Yes.
of changes or upgrades.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's basically that's just to answer a question. Yes, I encourage everybody just to write a book. That's mean 100 pages. Come on, no, not necessarily. Maybe 20 pages is enough. Even 10 pages. And I figured out that from LinkedIn. I said many books, small books, e-books from LinkedIn. Maybe 10 pages, but very intensive about things.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 pages. It's not necessary. Unfortunately, Raina, because our
it's
mindset,
not the traditional thinking of a book.
Yeah,
You can do
you know
any.
why? Yes, because our frame of thinking based in all system means when I said write a book, come on, books means 120 or 300 pages. Who said that? Even small ebook, 10 pages per month or 10 pages every 2 months, that's enough.
Yeah.
So not necessarily. And at the end of the year, you can collect it together and become a book. I will share with you one of the books that you bought for me, and thank you, Rana, for this.
Oh.
Okay. See, this book, I figure out this is the same thought. This Mr. Fabian, I had an interview with him before a couple of months. This book is just he have a therapy every week, I think, in Instagram, okay. And after he collect all his thought will become like a book. That's it.
That's brilliant.
That's
brilliant.
It.
And so, it's like wisdom. It's like lessons learned. You take one lesson and it could help you with a lot of things. Yeah.
Of course. So just to answer your question, Rana, yes.
Write a book. This is what you're telling me, Rana. Write a book.
We will write a book together, inshallah.
Oh, it will be my honor. It will be my honor. This is something, there's a book I recently finished. It's for Daniel Priestley. And it's called Key People of Influence. And it talks about the importance of a personal brand. And one of his, he gives you first do this, then do this. Then like number 3, I think it's number 3, write a book. And I looked at that chapter and I'm like, oh my God, this is like the hardest step ever, because it's where do you start? What idea, where, when you have so many things and and you've experienced so many things in your life, it
Yeah,
becomes blurred. It's a blurred line between what you learned and what you created.
right.
There's a blurred line. So it's a very humbling step, I believe. When you decide to write a book, it humbles the person, because then you really need to, it's part of the self evaluation, and of course self growth. I have an idea, but at the same time I need to humble myself to put it all together. I don't know, that was my thought for you
Yeah.
know um I want to end this with something that I told you before we start the conversation, how much I am so grateful that our paths has crossed, and we've met each other thanks to social media. I have to say that, but we've crossed our paths, and there were so many lessons learned from my end. So many lessons learned that I am so honored to have you here, and I really wanted to share some of some of the things that you put. And I really, really invite everybody who's listening or watching this to follow your journey when it comes, especially on LinkedIn, because the material and the articles that you write are very not all the time. Some of them are provocative, I have to say that, but most of them are like a master class. I remember reading something and I sent you a message and I was like, this is a master class. Like,
Yeah.
because there's a very easy, there's an easiness in reading, and there's this logical sequence that you put in your articles that I very much admire, because you kind of, as you mentioned, the building blocks, the Lego. So I wanted to thank you so much for that. I've learned so much, and I would like to end this beautiful conversation that I really don't want it to end with um, your thoughts on the new and upcoming brand strategists to be, or the marketeers to be. What advice would you give them? The MENA region is very complex. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give them to navigate this beautiful, yet complex and very nuanced, culturally nuanced region?
See, number one, I'm still student, and I will student till the last day of my life. Because if you have that mindset, you always keep learning. So you don't have to put yourself. I always telling to some lectures, please don't uh, title me as an expert, because I see myself still I'm a student. Okay, even with the certificates, whoever, whatever that brands I'm working with Bentley, with Aramco, with Kleenex, Formula One, with big brands, but still I believe I'm a student, and I'm happy I'm become students always. That's why I'm studying PhD, because I want to come back as a student. Because if you have that mindset of students, you will not stop learning. If you think you are self as a teacher, you will stop. That's what I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's from my perspective. That's
I
number one.
agree with you. I totally agree
And,
with
and, and number two is, in our region, what's happening in last 5 years is hilarious in positive way, of course, and uh, and with whether I call it the open source knowledge is fascinating, such as what they call it MOOC, which is all massive open online courses.
you. Mm,
Now, whatever you want, you can take it for free, almost for free, even cost hamburger,
mm.
okay, but not from McDonald's, of course. It's boycott, okay. So, so for example, you go to Udemy, you go Udacity, you Coursera, you have Domestika, you have LinkedIn, you have Google, you have Microsoft, you have Oxford. You have zillions of options that you can learn anything, literally anything, from your platform, which is even from your mobile phone or from your desktop. So there's no excuse, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know, it's not applicable now at all. Even I'm telling my kids, don't say I don't know. You Google it, you go and read and come back to me. Okay, that's number one. And number two, about the future, there are many challenges. Number one is become up to date. That's number one. Number two is to take that up to date and customize it for your local market. It's not copycat what's happening in US. You can apply it in your in your local market. Come on,
Yeah.
it cannot. Even they call it globalization and against that globalization. Even Thomas Friedman said, and I am against this man, but he said something that when you see the golden arcs, that's mean the McDonald's, and two countries, that's mean there's no war. It will happen in these two countries. You get the point?
Yes.
Because the America, it's
Yeah.
concord all these countries, so there's no clashes. But this statement in his book, I think they call it the Lexus and Flat World or something. I forget his book. Okay, it's not applicable anymore because of the globalization. Now is upside down. Now what's happening in Russia, for example, taking McDonald's out, and they become with their own brands. So what's happening in all around the world now, I think, is a positive. Why? Because we don't have UCD. It's something new, a new one, huh? You see me, United States centric design, no more. Okay, so so there's like a different polar now happening from China, from Russia. That's why I say when I say geopolitics is very important, even for brand strategy, because it's not just copycat from one country. With my respect, with all that experience from United States, and thank you for the knowledge coming from people and experts from United States people, not government, of course. I'm talking about people. Okay, but now it's something happening from different countries. From Japan, they have a brilliant experience in branding from different culture. Even Korea, China, Turkey, Iran, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia. So all these countries we have to taken care of and see how we can take the best of the best, what they call the best practice, and we can apply it whatever that suitable for us, local, and how we can scale and become scalable. If we think about regional, then it will be global. In my last article in LinkedIn about Barbie, okay, and
Yes.
based in my first or second book, which is available in Amazon, which is I Love My Doll, the love story between a human and doll, talking about the potential that's happening in Arab region from Fulla. Unfortunately, they don't have sustainability. It's just Fulla is kidnapped or hijacked. I don't know what's happened to her, vanish, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, and they have a potential from Egypt, from Kuwait, or from Malaysia, and from UAE, or from some characters. Why are they? I don't know why. What's happening? That's mean we have a potential, but that potential is still potential. Potential is meaningless if we don't take it to physical.
From idea to action. From
Yes,
idea
of
to
course.
action.
You can say potential. Okay, potential to when? Take that potential to an action, as you said. Okay, so we can put the KPI for that key performance indicator. Yes, we can see it. We can feel it. We can see this products in our daughter's hand. Just an example. Okay, we can see it. We're wearing T-shirts. We can see wearing watch. We can see it in sport in our daily life. That will be the indicator of the brands can create a tribe. If the brand can leave a trace behind. If the brand can write a storytelling. Without all these things, it will be just words in the book or words just in notebook, nothing more than that. The indicator is us. If we live, if we drink, if we wear, if we use something that it will be part of our daily life, that we can say that it's this brand. Without that, just in the theoretical part, we are not in the action part.
Yeah, it's just a theory. It's just an idea. Does it really have value without it? Not really. I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. And thank you so much for another one of your master classes. I will make sure that all of your details are in the show notes. And I really hope to have you once again, maybe on Let's Make Waves, or we do more work together. I'm always in awe of your work. Thank you so much for your time, Jaafar. I
Thank
really
you, Rana, for your time. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your humbleness, and you are very humble, by the way.
thank you.
Thoughts, and of course, I don't have to advertising or marketing you because, mashallah, you are very well known, especially for podcasts. And I'm very happy that you are sustaining your podcast, which is I always, up to date and listening to it
It's
either
my
through
honor.
LinkedIn or through even podcasts. Because at the end of the day, this part of sharing and digging more about brand strategy and branding, it will be adding value for all of us, for us, for both of us, and for even for the audience, and from the audience it will become adding value to them as consumers or even as clients. Because at the end of the day, we want to leave a trace behind. We want to leave a
Yes.
story. We want to make a positive change, inshallah.
Inshallah. I hope so. Thank you
Inshallah.
so much once again for your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rana. See you.
And that was the end of my conversation with Jaafar. I really enjoyed having that discussion with him. I hope you did too. And I hope you were able to collect the information and the value out of this conversation. For me, I really enjoyed how he broke down his methodology about designing brand success. That was one of my favorite parts of this conversation. There's so much to talk to him about, but as you saw, I've taken already a lot of time for him. So I'm really looking forward to having him again on this podcast. If you want to connect with Jaafar, all of his details will be in the show notes. You can find him on different platforms. Everything will be in the show notes. So please do follow and check out his news and his writing and his articles and the amazing work that he is doing. And thank you again. I'm really grateful to have you for this episode. I hope you did enjoy it. As always, please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. I'll see you next week. Take care and keep making waves.